And Dean, we're so excited to have you here. I'm going to just do a quick intro and then I can't wait for you guys to hear from Dean. But I do want to do a quick quiz, and this will also break in the chat. Like, this is Zoom calisthenics, okay? And that is, if you had to guess, when you think about DFW Airport, if you had to say they are what like number busiest airport in the world, where would you put them? Okay, so that's your quiz for the morning. Don't Google your answers. All right, so this is just pure guesswork right here. So every third Tuesday of the month, we gather for what I call 45 magical minutes to take you out of the real world, hopefully pour some inspiration and information into your life, and then we send you back into the cruel world. So just consider Leading Lab to be like a playground for your brain for about 45 minutes. And what I love so much and so honored is that we have people that can attend from lots of different industries, but we have a lot of people who watch this recording also from lots of different industries. And I'm really proud of that because I really feel like there's so many best practices going on in construction, in healthcare, in aviation, in manufacturing, in nonprofit, and sometimes we just don't cross pollinate ideas. And so, all that being said, in chat, if there's a resource you're looking for, or anybody in here, that you would like to learn more from, just feel free to reach out. But in the meantime, if you don't mind in chat putting, what industry that you're coming from, that's also really helpful for other people that might be looking for a resource. And today's session is really around the ROI of engagement. So you might have been seeing, and I'll be talking about this a lot because I'm super proud of the new book that's coming out. Fingers crossed, the first week of October. I just got the first round of edits from the editor, and there are a lot. So that means I need to step up my game and get all those edits done. I think I have like 140 edits to go through, and this is just round one. But in the book, we're looking at 7 brain-based strategies to really help people become a leader worth following. A lot of people get that intuitively, but we can always up our game. And I will say, when you think about, most of us will spend over 90,000 hours of our precious life at work. And leaders can make that time miserable or they can make it meaningful. And it's leaders worth following that create workplaces that are worth spending 90,000 plus hours of your life in. And to me, it's just a real divine appointment. When you think about how much influence over someone's life and the ripple effect of how that impacts their family. So in our Leading Lab this year, we've really taken one strategy at a time and just focused on a piece of that. And today we're looking at the interaction strategy. And if you're thinking, well, darn it, I've missed some of those others, have no fear. The recordings are on our YouTube. And so if you do go watch it, if you would subscribe, I would appreciate that very much. But all those are available. And then next month, we'll be moving around this circle and we'll be looking at using emotion. But anyway, that's where we're focusing today, is on the interaction strategy. And Dean's going to talk with us in a minute. And I know Dean's coming back from Mexico too. So it's 6 o'clock here. So this is the key theme of the morning. Your current rules are creating your current results. And that's the key theme. Whew. So what this means is we got to look at results in our life, and we got to look in the mirror before we look out the window, because our current rules are creating our current results. So the empowering part of that is that if we want different results, we just need to change the rules. We just need to maybe adapt or improve them just a little bit. And we can create different results. And that to me is great news. The greatest news that we've learned about our brains in the last, oh gosh, maybe ever, in my opinion, is that your brain can change. You can grow new neural networks. You can have new thought patterns and new habits. Here's another piece of good news. At any age, in fact, I would tell you that it's easier for you to adapt some of those things as you get older. You really can teach an old dog new tricks. Wherever that belief came from, it doesn't make sense. It's not a true belief. So don't believe that. I think that's up there, with a lot of some other crazy beliefs that we've been led to think is true along the way. And so when we think about engagement, our current rules are creating our current results. So I wanted to just start with this clip that might look or sound all too familiar.
Looks better. Looks like a Peter Gibbons. Oh, there you are. We are just talking about you. You must be Peter Gibbons. Terrific. I'm Bob Slidell. This is my associate, Bob Porter.
Oh, hi, Bob. Bob?
Pretty much go ahead and grab a seat and join us for a minute or two. You see, what we're actually trying to do here is we're trying to get a feel for how people spend their day at work. So, if you would you walk us through a typical day for you?
Yeah.
Great.
Well, I generally come in at least 15 minutes late. I use the side door. That way Lumberg can't see me. And after that, I just sort of space out for about an hour. Till I'm
Space out?
Yeah, I just stare at my desk. But it looks like I'm working. I do that for probably another hour after lunch, too. I'd say in a given week, I probably only do about 15 minutes of real, actual work.
Peter, would you be a good sport and indulge us and just tell us a little more?
Oh, yeah. Let me tell you something about TPS reports.
TPS stands for?
The thing is, Bob, it's not that I'm lazy. It's that I just don't care.
Don't care?
It's a problem of motivation, all right? Now, if I work my ass off and Initech ships a few extra units, I don't see another dime. So where's the motivation?
And here's something else, Bob. I have 8 different bosses right now.
I beg your pardon?
8 bosses.
8?
8, Bob. So that means that when I make a mistake, I have 8 different people coming by to tell me about it. That's my only real motivation, is not to be hassled. That and the fear of losing my job. But you know, Bob, that'll only make someone work just hard enough not to get fired.
Would you bear with me for just a second, please?
Okay.
What if, and believe me, this is so hypothetical, but what if you were offered some kind of a stock option equity sharing program? Would that do anything for you?
I don't know, I guess. Listen, I'm gonna go. It's been really nice talking to both of you guys.
Absolutely. The pleasure's all on this side of the table, trust me.
Good luck with your layoffs, all right? I hope your firings go really well.
Excellent. Great. Wow.
So great clip. Don't know why that's not on anymore. But what I want to do is just send you into a quick breakout. It's going to be like 2 or 3 people. But that way you get a chance to maybe connect with someone in here that you haven't had a chance to chat with. I'll share these instructions when you get there. But I just want you to have a few minutes to discuss, seriously, so if our current rules are creating our current results, what are 3 rules, whether those are unspoken or they're formal rules, that create this level of disengagement and apathy and drama and really just waste, even if it's emotional waste, okay? So we're about to teleport. into another room. Fingers crossed. I'll see you back here in about 7 minutes, okay? On your mark, get set, join your group of love learning. So learn that one. Hey, I'm just curious coming back, what were just some of the rules that you see, whether they're spoken or unspoken, that are actually creating that kind of result? If you don't mind, just a couple.
It's just how we do things.
Yeah. And like it might have used to make sense. It used to maybe have served us, but sometimes it's just really good to have a closet clean out of your beliefs. Yeah. What else?
We'll communicate when we think you need to know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I can't change the system, so why try?
Mm-hmm. Oh man, that learned helplessness. Absolutely. Once it takes root. And the thing about culture is, you have a culture by design or by default. And you can't, it's not a one and done. You can't just set direction. It's got to be a constant reinforcing, reinforcing, reinforcing. And when you think about this word of engagement, it's really a pretty cool word. So I wanted to just share what it means anyway. And the word gauge literally means to pledge, to commit, a guarantee. So the word wage comes from this word gauge. So it means like, I guarantee I'm going to pay you for what you've done. And we know a lot of words that have this in it, like mortgage. Mort means life. So what that literally means is that you are pledging your life. You have guaranteed your life to pay that back. But the word engage, means like this deep inner commitment. It's to put into, to invest. It's an within or inside out. So when people are engaged, it's an inside out kind of level of commitment, which I think is pretty fascinating. And one of the reasons why I asked Dean to join us, because when we talk about engagement with people, sometimes you hear, well, if we could pay more money or have better hours, or if we could do these things, then people might be engaged. So that's just a way to use excuse. But the truth is, like, leaders can influence that so very much. So I want to tell you quickly about we left on Saturday to go to Cabo. And Dean is VP of Parking and Transportation for DFW Airport. And I do want you to talk about the scope of what you do. But we park in express parking Saturday morning. And two people pull up to get us in the shuttle. They jump out. Good morning. How's your morning going? Leave that luggage. We've got it. Let us do that for you. Just having a great time. So I put our luggage on, and there are a few other people that get on. And on the way to the gate, they say, "Where's everybody going today?" So it was like our own little party on the way to the airport. When we get to the airport, oh, I know, I had a bag I was holding. It was, would it be okay if I take that bag for you and I can put it right here? Absolutely. So they're joking, they're laughing on the way to the terminal. And when we get off, they said, "Everybody just get off. We got your luggage." Here's the important part of this story. It's 4:30 in the morning. It's 4:30 in the morning, and that's not uncommon on Dean's team. And so anyway, that was Gershon and Regina, in case you want to say thank you for bringing your A game at 4:30 in the morning, and just the difference that it make. And by the time like there were 6 or 8 of us on there, by the time we all got off, we were all friends, so we knew where everybody was going and all those things. So, Dean, I'm going to just ask you if you don't mind, because I don't think most of us understand the size and scope of the airport and how busy it is and what you guys do on a regular basis. So, do you mind just kind of like telling the folks what
Yeah,
level of scope you're talking about here?
yeah. First of all, congratulations, you're going to Cabo. I just got back, so now I want to go back somewhere, Mexico. We were there we were in Cancun for an entire week. So anyway, yeah, I'm still thinking about the beach and the pool. So if I do stutter, I apologize. It's just I'm a little slow today.
Yeah. You're
My,
still on vacation time.
Yeah, I kind of am. I kind of am. But I think I saw Megan, one of our AVPs on the line on the call also, so she can chime in also. But the airport is it's 18,000 acres, and so it's bigger than the island of Manhattan. On any given day in the summertime, we could do 270, 280,000 passengers every single day. About 65% of those passengers are just passing through, or they're going, connecting through DFW. Um, so it's extremely busy all summer long. It ranges, like I said, it could be anywhere from 250 at the low end to almost 300,000 per every single day per day. In terms of traffic, cars and vehicles coming through here every day, we do over 120,000 cars and vans and buses and everything else throughout the airport, going in and out of the airport every single day. We have over 60,000 people who work here. The economic impact to this region is incredible, billions of dollars throughout the region. That we create through many different ways. I don't want to bore you with all that stuff, but in terms of my scope, so my team's scope is when you walk out the doors, that's us. And so when you hit that curbside, that's what we call the TBU, Transportation Business Unit. We have 334 board employees, and we have an additional 1,200 contract employees, that's what Sherry was talking about when she was in Express. That's one of our contracts, and that's one of the things we're extremely proud about. And I'm
Wow.
so passionate about. We don't have contractors. I don't like to call them contractors. We call them partners. And so we treat these contracts as our partners, not as tenant-client relationship type of thing. This is really what we do every single day is treat them the same way that we treat our own employees. And we actually hold every December we hold a huge gala for our contract partners to. We recognize those folks, the frontline folks from concessionaires all the way to bus drivers, in addition to other folks, janitorial and so on. And Megan could talk about that if she wanted to. And so it is incredible to see the excitement. They sit down for this beautiful lunch in this beautiful big area, and they're so excited to see that. The reason why I'm telling you that is because of what Sherry just talked about. That's probably one of the people that was recognized back in December for a great job. So
Wow.
I think I remember the name. But anyway, we are rather large, and we have quite a few folks that come through here. But our core value, we have so many core values that we have, but really what we're trying to do is create an environment for our passengers during this construction over the next 5 years. My boss likes to call it the tsunami. Because we have so much going on in terms of construction, while we have almost 300,000 people going through here every single day this summer. So it's quite a challenge. Our new CEO said it the other day. He said when you come to the airport, it's not like there's a big wow factor. You don't see these huge buildings and these tropical gardens and all kinds of stuff. But what you do see is people who care about the customers that come through, and that's who we really are. And it's the people that make us who we are at DFW. We put so much into our people for development, from an engagement standpoint, that the customers always get a direct result from that, a positive result from that. So they will benefit tremendously. And there was one other thing I was going to say about Well, we'll get to that later. I think that was another question you were gonna you were gonna ask. But, I could go on for hours, Sherry. You know me. You know me. You know how I am.
So, Dean, so I had the privilege of helping develop the leadership development. When he says that they invest in their people, absolutely. So, Dean and Megan just wrapped up 7 amazing months listening to this voice every single month. But when we first started, we kind of had our first session was a false start in a way. There were 3 people that showed up that day, and then we decided we need to communicate differently, and then we picked it up the next month. But Dean was one of the very first people that I met, and he's going to be incredibly humble. But what he's been able to do with this team is really defies when I think about all the excuses that we oftentimes use or hear on why people are not engaged. He has every reason to use all of those excuses and yet doesn't. And so when you think about that many people being contractors, recognized as partners, but nevertheless, how do you get that level of loyalty? Is pretty darn impressive. To me, it speaks to great leadership, and which Dean's going to be all humble about that. But, the first time I met him, I knew that he just had a special quality about him in how he carries himself and how he interacts with his peers and the way he talks about his team. And so, Dean, one thing that, if you don't mind, like when you think about what are some, like humility to the side, what are some things in your leadership that you feel have contributed to a culture there that is experiencing that level of engagement? Like
Well, you're
philosophy.
right. You're right. I'm pretty humble about things, but I have a major passion for people. Just from my core value. My core value is putting people first, others first. Kind of and being a servant leader and serving others. And I started at the airport as a supervisor, kind of out of college, and I worked my way around the airport and did a lot of different things. I met a lot of people. And the reason why I'm sitting here today in the vice president role is not because of all the stuff that I did. I think I did okay. I did some good stuff, right? But it's the people around me, I think, that really helped me get to that next level. Mentors and people who really taught me the way and made me understand how things work. But at the core of everything is that the servant side of it, the serving others side of it, is really the big part of what makes us special. And I tell my folks, we have, there's really 3 things that I talk about more than anything else. And those 3 things are: integrity is my favorite word in the English dictionary. Respect each other all the time, no matter who you are, what you look like, where you come from. And then there's accountability. And I don't talk about accountability as, we're telling you what to do. If you don't do it, you're in trouble. You're going to get written up and everything else. I'm talking about self-accountability. It makes it so much easier to hold people accountable when they feel like they have ownership in something and they know what the expectations are. I'm not big on sayings at all, on using other people's quotes, because I like to make up my own, which sometimes good, sometimes not so good. But one of the quotes is, nobody cares about what you know until they know you care. And that's true. There's nothing more important than people knowing that you care. But then you have to really set the expectation, say, these are the things we do, and this is why we do it. But putting the team at the center of everything you do, from a development standpoint, from a caring standpoint, family atmosphere, the culture of what you create here, makes people feel like they are part of something special. And I, if you want, some of the some of the things that I like to throw out there is, I don't really like to throw out there because I'm pretty humble about it, but is that we have the largest department at DFW, the transportation and parking, the largest department, the lowest paid department in the airport, but we have the highest engagement scores in the entire airport. And to me, that's really about, you know, the all of the managers that we have, all of our leadership in this group that really put people first, develop people, get them to where they want to go. In fact, I have each one of every single frontline employee that we have, they have to have one-on-one supervisors and one-on-one meetings with their supervisors, talk about their development. I'm not talking about what their goals are for the year. I'm talking about their development. They want to get their bachelor's degree. Do they want to get some leadership courses? Do they want to, you know, go be a nurse? What do they want to do in life? And so everybody knowing that we care about who they are as a person has changed the way that people see their workplace here. We don't want people to, I was talking to Guillermo and Sam earlier, we don't want people to come to, you know, to come to work every day just to get a paycheck. That's not what it's about. It's because they believe in it. And, you know, there are times when I've actually said, you know what, if you come just to get a paycheck, then you probably shouldn't be here. You should go find something you really want to do. And we help them get go to other opportunities in other departments, or even if they get promoted somewhere else outside the organization. There's nothing more exciting to me than that. I was telling Sam and Guillermo also that the way that we think here is that, you know, when you think about your successes as a person, personal successes in the past, it's kind of hard to remember some of those things, right? But if you think about all the successes of other people who worked with you in the past, those are pretty easy to remember. They're easier to remember than the ones about yourself. And so it's so much more gratifying. There's so much more gratification to seeing people succeed that work with you than it is for you to get, you know, the things that you get. And believe me, if people succeed that work for you, work with you, then you're going to succeed and you're going to grow and develop and become and get promoted throughout the years. So that's a long-winded way of saying it, but that's kind of the way it works.
No, it's so good. And I think about, like, not only are they the front line of that customer interface, but you're also dealing with a lot of stress. And I mean, those travelers' brains are already under threat. I'm sure they encounter a lot of difficult situations. Um, and so rolling that up, and certainly all the great work that Megan and her team do, but you guys are such a big contributor. Do you mind just bragging a second about just overall customer experience and awards that the airport gets regularly?
Yeah, I think Megan can talk about it better, but I can tell you we won the ACI Best Airport and Customer Service, over 40 million passengers the last 3 years in a row. That's a huge accomplishment, and we take that so seriously. And Megan's team, our customer experience team, is inside the terminals, and they're working this every day. And they're really the drivers of us getting that award every single year. And we won the last 3. We're going for 4, obviously, but we've won 6.
So there is a three-peat. See,
There is
it's
a 3.
possible.
Yeah, it didn't happen for the Chiefs, but it happened. If anybody's a Chiefs fan, sorry, but we did 3-peat, and we've won 6 out of the last 9. So we are really proud of that. We take that very seriously, and these aren't scores that you know, just, you know, a lot of times there are different awards that you can get that, as long as you're part of an organization, you can be put up for an award. This is actually voted on by people. These are actually survey questions that are done outside with all of our passengers. So we're actually winning the award. We're not just being given an award. So we're very, very proud of that.
You're not buying it.
That's right.
I just think that's phenomenal. I want you to touch on that gala one more time, because it's not your typical, you guys pick all these awards. Do you mind talking about how that is an internal nomination for the?
Oh, you're talking about the Emmy Awards. That's a different one. That's a different one.
Oh, yes. You got to tell them about this. It's the coolest.
Yeah, so the one I talked about earlier was for our contract partners. So we have to do that separately for reasons, you know, for legal reasons, I guess. So we do that separately, and that's probably 3,000 or 4,000 people in a room. So for the one that Sherry is talking about, we call it the Emmy Awards, the TBU Emmy Awards. It's called the Extra Mile of Excellence Awards. And so what happens is every year we have an engagement team that goes out and solicits, not solicits, I guess they go out and they say, hey, who do you want to nominate for the Emmy Award? And the Emmy Award really embodies people who go above and beyond and created, an atmosphere and environment for the customers that is just second to none. Do something extraordinary. And so this engagement team, which is basically it's about 16 volunteers throughout the TBU that they come together once a week and they talk about how the Emmy Awards are going to be. So let me explain this to you. So they send out this communication to the entire TBU, all 300 plus people, and say, hey, nominate your favorite employee. And there's one caveat to that. A supervisor cannot nominate a subordinate. I hate to use that word, but it has to be peer to peer. And so it's amazing. You see that all of these frontline folks, and these are truly frontline people, hourly paid people. Like I said, lowest paid in the airport, still paid pretty well for an hourly employee, but they're frontline folks, and they nominate each other. And if you read what they write about each other, it's incredible how they talk about each other as a family member, as somebody they love and they care about. And last year, I think we had over 200 nominations, and then it goes through an entire scrutiny and it ends up coming to myself and my two AVPs. And then we cut it down to the final, however many we think, deserve it, which has pretty much been done. It's not like we take anybody out. We kind of added a few people, by the way. And so last year we had 26 people that received the Emmy Award. And I wish I could show it to you. It's pretty cool. Let me show you. Sorry, Sherry. I had to show you.
Oh, it's great. I can't wait.
This is the Emmy Award.
Oh, that is really nice.
It's not cheap plastic. It's real crystal. And it shows the Extra Mile of Excellence Award. And so what we do is we rent out a really nice country club. And we set it up as a red carpet event. So if people walk in, they can bring a family member. So they usually bring their wives or their husbands or their kids, and they get to sit down for an amazing lunch that they're served. It's usually a fillet, or I don't ever get chicken because that's just wrong. I'm not going to do that to them. So I get them the fillet every time, and so they enjoy this wonderful lunch and this great atmosphere that really makes them feel special, because they are special. And the great thing about this is I don't do this. My AVPs don't do this. My managers don't do this. Even the supervisors don't do this. The frontline people put this entire thing together. So these are volunteers, this engagement team. They go out, they find the place, they make sure I tell them what the budget is. So I have two rules: have fun and don't go over budget. So I give them a budget and have fun. And so they put this whole thing together. Frontline people do this entire thing. They put the whole thing together. They run it. They stand up front, and there's 16 people. They're all talking. So they all have a role in what we do. And to see the pride and the excitement of the people that put it together. And these are people that have never spoken in front of a crowd before. This is what I talk about development. So they feel like they're part of something really special, and they're creating something really special for the people that work with them, right alongside them. And so for each person, there's a nomination, and there's a pamphlet. And so for each person, they read this entire thing for each person and what they did and how they did it and how special it was. And they get to come up and they take pictures with us. And it's just a big gal. It's truly like an Emmy event. And the pride is just incredible. And I can't explain it any better than that. The excitement is just amazing to see how excited people are to receive that. And that brings me to what I was going to say earlier, Sherry. you talk about the money, and by the way, Office Space is one of my favorite movies ever. But you talk about money, you talk about people are motivated by money, work schedules, things like that. That's true to a point, but the thing that people value the most in an organization, number one, it's been proven over and over and over, is recognition among their peers. When you recognize people among their peers, it brings out an entirely different culture. When you start paying people more and more and more to try to stay up with the market, and you just keep trying to do that, all you have is you have instant gratification. You have that gratification, and it only lasts for a short period of time. When you create a culture of engagement, a culture of recognition, a culture of caring, family, then you've changed the environment, and you have created an engaged group that you wouldn't have if you just try to pay them more.
See, I know. I got to spend 7 months, and just incredible leadership. All right, so we've got. I know we're a little bit over, but you guys, can you give us about 5-ish more minutes, Dean? You probably have a hard stop, but I want to give opportunity. Anybody has a question for Dean?
Hi, Dean. It's Ben.
Hey, Ben, how are you?
Thank you so much for coming on and sharing your stories and your leadership with us. I'm curious if you could speak to, or maybe think back, your top 1, 2, or maybe even 3 mentors that most influenced your life and leadership, and some of the lessons that they shared with you.
Yeah, I think, this is an easy one, but the first one I think was my dad. He was an immigrant from Egypt. He came over here and started with nothing. He worked his way into being a doctor, and he didn't want to do the private practice thing. He didn't want to deal with all the stuff in private practice and insurance and everything else. So he worked in a county hospital for his entire career here. It was actually in San Antonio, and because he wanted to serve the people, he didn't want to just make the money. It wasn't about money for him; it was about the people. And I remember going to work with him one day, and well, many times, but the one I remember the biggest day is when we first walked in, there's the janitor who was cleaning the floors on the right side. I still remember his face, exactly what he looked like. I was about 7 or 8 years old. And the first thing he did, my dad did, is he walked over, he shook his hand, and he said, "Hi, how are you doing? Good to see you today." And the janitor, then he spoke to him for a good 5 minutes. And as we were walking off, he said, "Dean, you treat everybody the same. His words were, you're as good as anybody else, but it doesn't make you any better than anybody else." And so, I think about that all the time. He was a mentor to me from that point of view, understanding that you put others first. And then I think the second one is in my first job that I got right out of college. There's a guy named Mike Lotfie. He sat me down every single day and took, I don't know, probably 30 minutes to an hour every single day, and talked to me about just life. Talked to me about who I was as a person, and what I wanted to do, and how he wanted to see me grow to the next level, and everything else. He would take that time every single day I walked in the door. I walked in the door at 2:00. A lot of times I come in early, like at 10:00, but 2:00 in the afternoon, and he would spend a good hour, sometimes 2, sometimes he would just talk, just to show that he cared. And he genuinely cared. And that's people can talk to people all the time about just, I care about you, but is it really genuine? If you're genuine about it, like he was, man, that made a big difference to me. And I think the last person is, my last boss that I had. He was the vice president while I was an AVP here. His name was Armin Cruz, and he wasn't I wouldn't say he was the nicest guy in the world, but man, he taught me a lot about leadership. He taught me a lot about how, it's not about the money. It's about creating a culture that will create engagement. So I'd say those top three, those are the first three that I would say.
Thank you. It's a great question. Great question. I would say, just I was a outsider coming into DFW, and that first day meeting Dean. I think it was Dean and Kendra and LaDonna. Maybe those were the first three that were there. But I know what it feels like to be on the receiving end of feeling so welcomed. And when I left that day, I thought this is going to be an incredible experience. And it has been an incredible experience. I just hope that this gives you some inspiration. I know Dean wouldn't mind if you want to reach out to him. He's that incredible. And because in the end, I'm a firm believer the only thing we're bringing into this world is love, and that's the only thing we're taking out. And so, love what you do, recognize the ripple effect of what you're doing, even in those hard days, probably especially in the hard days. It's even more important to remember those things. And then the impact that you're having. So we often say, love your life, lead with intention, leave a legacy. And that's exactly what, Dean, you're doing. And thank you so much for jumping on and sharing with this group. I wish we had 2 more hours.
No, it's my pleasure. I love this, and what Sherry said is right. If my contact information, Sherry, if you want to give it out, I mean, I'm good. I would love to talk to anybody who wants to talk to me. That's actually an honor. So if you have any questions for me or anything I can help you with, I would absolutely love to. Megan, I think, is on the line too. She is incredible. She's been here the entire time. The story about her is, I know when I first met her, I was intimidated because she was so incredibly good at what she did. That was a long time ago, but she's awesome. And so we have a very close knit group here, and so I'd like to, if anybody has anything for me, please reach out. I'd be happy to talk.
Thank you so much. And I know he said they had, I don't know how many hundreds of thousands of employees, but they really don't. They have this tiny core team of about 2,100 people that are managing millions of passengers coming through, and it changes your perspective when you come through the airport for sure. But thank you guys so much for being here. We'll get this recording out, and I just appreciate you. Next month, we're talking really about resilience and building resilience in yourself. How do you build that into your team? And it's around the using emotion strategy, but we'll be talking about resilience. And I'd love to have you back and invite a friend. And thank you guys for being here. I appreciate it so much. Have a fantastic day.
Thank you, Sherry.
Thank you, Dean. Appreciate you
Thank
so
you, Dean.
much.
Thank you, Sherry.
Thank you.
Thank you.